a very serious medical condition going on right now, and I could die from it, and it's very scary to think that. So I'm going to make a part 1 and a part 2 of this medical video. So part 1 will be explaining my diseases, and then part 2 will be my serious life or death surgery coming up and my serious medical condition. This will be part 2. I am a triplet, and I was born 3 months early. When I was born, I would stop breathing all the time. I would turn blue. I would aspirate, and a nurse on accident put a feeding tube in my lungs instead of in my stomach. So it was like I was drowning because a bunch of fluid was in my lungs, and I completely flatlined. They had to give me CPR, resuscitate me. I was pronounced dead for like 25 minutes. I was brought back. So ever since I was a baby, like literally born, it's been kind of a roller coaster. After that happened, I was in the NICU for probably 2 or 3 months before I could get taken home, and then when I would get taken home, I would stop breathing, so I would have to go back to the NICU. So what would happen is, when I would have my baby formula, when I was a baby, it would go down and then everything would come right back up and I would choke on it. So when I was a baby, I had a surgery done like about right in here, and they basically blocked it off right here so nothing can come back up. So from that, I can't throw up or burp, and that way I don't choke and start like turning blue. So I still have that. I can't burp or throw up. After I was born, once I was healthier, I was a pretty happy kid, and life went on. And then I was about 5.5 or 6, and I started having stomach pain. So we went to doctors after doctors after doctors. They kept misdiagnosing me with diseases. It's been rough ever since then. And then finally we went to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. If you don't know what that is, it's basically one of the top medical places that you can go, and it's in Minnesota, and they're supposed to be really good. So they diagnosed me with my first disease, which is called eosinophilic esophagitis. So basically what that disease is all of my cells attack my body whenever I come in contact with something I'm allergic to. So my body attacks itself in my upper esophagus, and all of my stomach and small intestine. Because of eosinophilic esophagitis, I have a ton of allergies. I mean, I'm allergic to pretty much all fruits, all vegetables. I'm allergic to like all the plants outside, grass, like all your typical allergies. I had to go on a very restricted diet. I could not gain weight. I was super, super, super thin when I was younger. So we were trying that for a while. It was going okay. I mean, I still was sick, and with EE you have a lot of esophagus pain and you have like a lot of stomach pain, you get nauseous. So probably about twice a year they go into my esophagus, stomach, and small intestine, and they take a piece of it out to do a biopsy on it, and I've had about 60 of those. That's the only way you can keep track of how many eosinophils you have. I was trying to manage that, and then a few years later I started getting just more pain, like just weird random pain all throughout my body. So we were like, maybe it's EE flaring up. Why don't we go to the Mayo Clinic again? So we did, and they diagnosed me with my second disease, which is called visceral hypersensitivity. Pretty much all my nerves throughout my body are on overdrive. Like it feels like all your body is on fire, like a lot of nerve pain all throughout my body. And there's nothing you can really do for that. I mean, we were bummed. So that's just something I have to deal with too. I was managing both of the diseases, and my first disease, EE, that seems to get worse every single year. So eventually I had to get a feeding tube. Right here. I had to get a feeding tube because I was at the point where it was way too painful to eat or drink. My body was attacking itself so much because I had so many food allergies. So I was getting this special nutrition through my tube. Everything was going great for 2 years. I was doing the trapeze, I was catching my double, I was the strongest I had ever been. I was getting stronger. And then I started getting some symptoms. I started getting headaches, I started getting really dizzy, and when I would stand up, I would black out, everything would go black. So we were like, okay, this is not normal. So we went to the Mayo Clinic once again because, the doctors in Las Vegas didn't know what it was. So we went back there for the 3rd time, and they ran a bunch of tests. You guys don't even know. I have had countless blood tests, surgeries. After many tests, they figured out that I have a disease called autonomic dysfunction. So the type of autonomic dysfunction that I have is called P.O.T.S. So it stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. My whole autonomic nervous system doesn't work at all. It's like being in heart failure. Every time I stand up, my heart rate shoots up super high and my blood pressure drops, and that causes me to have everything go black. I've passed out many times. So imagine closing your eyes, you can't see anything, you feel like you're gonna fall over, you get really bad head pain, it's just not fun. And I cannot hear at all when this happens. So I have to be super careful when I stand up. And that disease is not fun because I'm exhausted all the time. It causes so much fatigue. I can't control my body temperature from it because my whole nervous system doesn't work. That disease is not fun. It can cause strokes. It's serious. I had a lot of pain, so I went to the ER and they checked my blood sugar and it was super low. It was 50, I'm pretty sure. So they admitted me to the hospital. They tried to get my blood sugar back up, and I was in the hospital because I could not tolerate any of my feeding tube nutrition. I could not eat anything. They had to put a PICC line in through my arm, which goes to my heart, and they had to do special nutrition through my PICC line, and that made me super sick. I was gagging from it, so that didn't work. So still to this day, I'm having a really hard time getting nutrition, and eating is just super painful, and get nutrition through my tube, so that's still a struggle. When I was in the hospital, I had super low blood sugar, and then they got it back up. We were noticing that I was getting super high blood sugars. So while I was in the hospital, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It's just another thing I have to deal with. So yeah, that is my 4th disease. And then my P.O.T.S just kept getting worse. I started getting super bad head pain. So we went to the specialist. Sorry guys, I'm just in a lot of pain right now. I'll try and make it through this video though. So we went to this lady who specializes in P.O.T.S. She's in Texas. She said, okay, yeah, Gatorade and salt will not help P.O.T.S. So she ran a bunch of blood work, the usual. And from P.O.T.S, it can cause all of your organs to shut down. I'm already showing signs of kidney issues, a bunch of organ issues. And she ran a bunch of blood work. She looked at scans from my eyes and my head, and she could tell that there was inflammation in my eyes and it just didn't look right. So she was like, okay, based off of everything, I want you to start taking all these medicines, and that might help your P.O.T.S. And then with the head pain, I think you have a CSF leak. That is basically over time your pressure in your head builds up and it leaks out your spine. She then referred us to yet another doctor. He is in Cedars-Sinai. He specializes in CSF leaks. I was taking the P.O.T.S medicine. It was not helping. My P.O.T.S was not getting better. In fact, it was getting worse. So we went to the CSF leak specialist and we did the first surgery. So they went into my spine and they blocked off the leak. So I had the first one done. It helped for a day, and then I went back to my normal symptoms. We were just at an all-time low. That was really hard. So then we went back home. We waited a few months. We went back again to LA and had the same thing done a second time, and that time they actually made it worse. I got really bad shooting pain when I woke up because they're doing surgery in my spine. So I started getting a lot of numbness, tingling, and I couldn't feel my arms and legs. So we were really sad because, again, that surgery was not successful. My mom was researching and she's suggesting to get a CT myelogram done. So that is more invasive than the surgeries I had done before on my spine. They opened up my spine and they had to tilt me in all different directions, and they had to try to look where the leak is, and most of the time they find the leak and then they fix it right then and there. But with me, they didn't find the leak, just my luck. That was our last hope. I mean, we were devastated. It was really hard because nothing was working and I had been let down so many times. So I was just getting worse. I could not get out of bed at this point. My mom was researching, and she came across this disease which is called cervical cranial instability. It matched all of my symptoms, so we thought that I might have it. We went to a hospital that has the best neuro team in the country, which is at Arizona Children's Hospital. We were there for probably a week. They would not give me anything for my pain. We specifically asked them to test me for the cervical cranial instability, and they said, we don't know how to test for that, and even if she had it, there's nothing we can do for that. That was probably the lowest point that I had ever been in my life. That was so hard to hear that. They thought I was crazy, and they threatened to call Child Protective Services and take me away from my mom because they thought we were crazy. I have spent my entire life dealing with doctors not believing me, telling me I'm crazy. It's just I've been poked and prodded, and I've been through a lot, but I'm not done fighting yet. So after we got home from the Arizona Children's Hospital, we kept researching CCI, and we found a doctor who specializes in CCI, who does surgeries for them. So he's in New York City. We contacted him. It was a several month wait list because only 2 people in the world deal with CCI with doing the surgery. So we had a video chat with him. He took my scans from the hospital a while ago and from Arizona, and he could see that I did have CCI with those old scans. He said, "Oh my God, you have the worst case that I have seen, and I am very surprised that your neck has not snapped yet." And I just started tearing up. I mean, who wants to hear those words? I mean, basically getting told that you're lucky you haven't died yet. I had no idea it was that bad. I got diagnosed with, I am going to share some symptoms with you guys. So CCI is basically where my neck cannot hold up my head. It cannot support it. So I got diagnosed with another disease after CCI, which ties together with CCI. So after I got diagnosed with CCI, on the same video chat, he said, you have another disease called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So that is a connective tissue disorder where basically your whole body, it's like instability in your whole body. So all of my ligaments and bones are weaker. So because of that, that's what caused my CCI. Over time, all the ligaments and tendons and stuff got weak, and so eventually all my ligaments tore, and so my neck cannot hold up my head, and that is why it could snap. So I have to be super careful, and I cannot do makeup anymore, even though I want to so bad. But I do have pre-filmed videos from before I found this out, and I wasn't wearing a neck brace, and I was super lucky that nothing happened. Since I have the connective tissue disorder, it makes everything unstable in my body. My head is basically a bobblehead. When I don't have this on, which is when I'm sleeping, my head falls to the side and it's really bad. And so there are 3 different measurements that the doctor looked at, and all 3 of them were really bad. This is bad. Mine were all the way down here, so my measurements are really bad. Not only are my ligaments torn, but also my brain is compressing down onto my spinal cord, so that is super painful. It causes really bad head pain, really bad neck, back, and shoulder pain, sleep apnea, balance issues, dizziness, and it can cause paralysis. So I have 3 things going on with my head and neck. With the CCI, I have the unstable neck and head, and I have the compressing of the brain. So my brain is compressing down onto my spinal cord. From that, my bone in the back of my neck is poking into the front. That is very, very painful. When it pokes in, like I feel when it happens. So my head, everything shifts to the side, and then I feel it poke in. And when that happens, oh my goodness, I'm not even exaggerating. It is the worst pain of my life. It blocks off my blood flow. And when it cuts in, it makes my CSF pressure super high, like it's dangerously high. It feels like someone's tying a rope around my neck, and my head is pounding, and it feels like my brain is like pushing down and pounding and getting squeezed. It's the worst pain I have ever had in my entire life when that happens, and it happens like every other day. That's along with my really bad neck, back, and shoulder pain from my neck and my head pain. I am holding back tears literally right now trying to film this video because I'm in so much pain. That's why I cannot move my neck, because it is a struggle to get through each day. So I have the CCI, which is the 5th disease, the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is the 6th. I also have a disease called mast cell activation disorder. Basically, my mast cells in my stomach attack my body, and it causes horrible pain. It makes me have severe reactions to pretty much everything, like medicine. It gives me a horrible burning pain all over. That causes a lot of pain. Make sure that you watch my next video, because I will be explaining my extremely scary, life-changing surgery, which is coming up soon, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm super scared for it, but it's all in God's hands. So please make sure that you watch the next video. I explain more in depth about my neck and head and the surgery, so stay tuned for that video. And I don't feel up to doing shout outs right now, I'm sorry. In my other pre-filmed videos, my makeup videos, I'll just write on the screen the shout outs. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in part 2. Bye.